Hey, what's up, guys? Did you hear about the young doctor who accompanied his mentor on his rounds of house calls? Well, at the first house, a woman complained that she'd been a little sick to her stomach. And the older doctor says, well, you've probably been overdoing the fruit. Cut back on the amount you've been eating and see if that does the trick. And as they left, the younger doctor says, hey, you didn't even examine that woman. How did you come to the diagnosis so quickly? He said, I didn't have to examine her. When I dropped my stethoscope on the floor and bent over to pick it up, I noticed a half dozen banana peels in the trash. And that was probably what was making her sick. The younger doctor said, hey, that's pretty clever. If you don't mind, I think I'll try that at the next house. And when they got there, a lady said that she just didn't have the energy she once did and was feeling really run down. The younger doctor said, well, you've probably been interacting with the church too much. Perhaps you should cut back a bit and see if that helps. And as they left, the elder doctor said, hey, I know that woman pretty well. She is, in fact, very active in our church, but how did you arrive at that suggestion? The younger doctor said, well, I did what you did at the last house. I dropped my stethoscope, and when I bent down to retrieve it, I noticed the priest hiding under the bed. Okay, so let's talk about energy today. But first, listen, last week we discussed the concept of letting go, and the message is already the most watched this year. And that makes a lot of sense to me because you can tell we all have very strong desires for improvement in essentially every area of our lives. We desire improved health, better government, better infrastructure, more active listings, even better cell service, am I right? Now, I trust at this point you understand that desire itself attracts adversity, and adversity is a tool life uses to deliver the things we want. And I'm sure some of you who watch these messages religiously think I sound like a broken record. And yet it's important to keep repeating that point because while it's easy to understand, when you're going about daily life, it's not always easy to remember in the moments that cause the frustration. And you can always tell when you're fighting life when you find yourself feeling frustrated, or when you feel any negative emotion for that matter. Negative emotions feel uncomfortable precisely because it's life's way of getting your attention. They're your reminder to do some of the things we discussed last week and let go of your attempts to control exactly how everything is going to go. Or said another way, to stop the story in your head about the way you think things should be going. So if you're with me so far, then I want to fulfill my promise, which was to talk about how to deliberately raise your energy level. A couple weeks ago, I told the story of how I was on the rowing machine shortly after my mom passed and used the repetitive movement of the rower to help me concentrate on raising my energy level. And then after a few minutes, I felt an enormous sense of happiness and saw a clear image of my mom laughing at me. You see, I'm certain that event was my mom sending a message reminding me to let go and allow myself to be happy. But whether you agree my mom was communicating with me or not, quite a few people asked if I could talk about specifically how one could raise their energy level. And the answer is that you must start the process by letting go of attempts to control how life is going to go. It's only once we've released resistance that we have the ability to move in a positive direction. And the tools we have for that are all the mindfulness exercises like journaling or doing puzzles or origami or coloring, meditation and yoga, all that stuff. From there, it's important to understand that humans can't jump from frustration to happiness instantly. You see, our emotions work on a scale. So picture an old radio, you know, the kind with an actual dial, and let's say that you're listening to 94.5 and you don't like what you hear, so you want to change the station to 106.7. Well, to get to the higher frequency, you literally have to dial the radio through the lower frequencies. And that's how emotions work. Once you let go of frustration, you won't instantly feel a rush of happiness. Now, letting go will almost always feel like relief. But to get to happy, then you need to grab the dial and start moving towards a much higher frequency. Now, the easiest way to do this, and what I did on the rower that day, is to create a storm of appreciation. So start by picking one thing that you can focus on and feel a sense of appreciation. I started on the rower by appreciating the fact that I was healthy and able to exercise in the sunshine. And I remained focused on that feeling until I was ready to pick something else. My second thought was appreciation for the music that was playing in my earbuds. There were like 5 of my favorite workout songs played in a row on Sirius XM. And then the next was appreciation for the food I was going to buy at the farmer's market after my workout. And I don't remember what came after that, but I know that for 30 minutes on that rower, I did nothing but deliberately focus on various things I was appreciative of and whipped up my own storm of appreciation, such that I was vibrating at a high enough frequency to access communication from my mom. You can think of it this way. Each thing I found to appreciate and be grateful for was a turn of the dial to a higher frequency. Now, most of you probably don't want to talk to dead people, but I know you do want to feel happy more often, and this is one of the best ways to get there. I mean, it sounds easy, right? And I know you can do this, but when was the last time you just sat for 30 minutes straight and did nothing but concentrate your thoughts on the positive aspects of your life? Have you been letting your clients or the market get to you? I mean, what might happen if after watching this video you gave yourself 30 minutes to just do this activity? Okay, so another way to go about this is to create a book of positive characteristics. Now, this is different from what you see in many of the daily planners. You know how they ask you to acknowledge the positive things that happen during the day by writing them out? I mean, that's a great exercise in and of itself, but the book of positive characteristics is different, and it's fantastic for getting out of frustration really fast. Okay, so imagine you have a special journal and you name it the Book of Positive Characteristics. Now, each page of this book is going to be subject based, and the subject could be a person or a company or a situation that's causing some kind of negative emotion. So right now, think of a person in your life who's been frustrating you, or a situation that's driving you nuts. Maybe it's your buyer client who refuses to do what's needed to compete against another offer, or I don't like a listing agent on a power trip, or your spouse who won't stop doing that thing that's so irritating. Okay? Put the name of the person or the situation at the top of a page. Then start writing out any positive characteristics you can bring to mind, no matter how small at first, and see if you can fill the entire page with positive aspects. For example, is the person providing you with the opportunity to grow? Are you able to find empathy for bad behavior that may be stemming from insecurity? I mean, even though they're irritating you now, is there anything you like about this person whose name is at the top? Sometimes you can be so mad at someone that it might sound impossible to do this, but the great thing about this specific exercise is that it quickly builds momentum. The tiny things you appreciate quickly build to more significant characteristics, and by the end of that page, you'll find yourself enjoying a much improved mood and higher energy level overall. So I could go on, but those are my two favorite ways to raise my energy level, and so this week, I want you to pick your favorite and give it a try. Have you ever heard the quote from Eleanor Roosevelt that no one can make you feel inferior without your permission? Well, I believe that no one can ruin your mood and your energy level without your permission either. But if you mistakenly give it to them, now you have at least two ways to take your power back. Okay, guys, I want to hear how this goes. Thanks for watching this week. It's going to be a fantastic week ahead. My name is Jason Edwards, and let's get out there and build a top producer life.